Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Anthony, Franco, I'm fantastic. How are you this morning? Happy Tuesday to you. Tell me what's on your mind. How are things?
I met a most fascinating individual yesterday.
Tell me.
He was a microbiologist.
Yeah.
He was a lot bigger than I thought he would be.
Because of micro. Yeah. Anthony, I'm a little bit grumpy. We're in a digital world now. I use Outlook. I use all these digital calendars, right, to keep track of my stuff. And I walk into the mall yesterday. There's an entire shop with printed calendars on it. I got to tell you, Anthony, those calendars days are numbered.
You've got to find a different source for dad jokes, dude.
That's right. The greatest source ever. Anthony, what if team alignment is just expensive procrastination? Jared Christopher built Yellowfin BI's sales team without a single alignment meeting. Instead of consensus, he gave each regional director complete authority over their territory with one rule: defend your decisions with data at monthly reviews. Revenue grew 340% in 2 years, while competitors held stakeholder sessions. The lesson isn't that alignment is worthless, but the decision velocity beats the collective buy-in when authority is clear. Today, Anthony, on How to Founder, we're going to be talking about team dynamics. We have one of the first times ever, somebody messed up and didn't cross off our podcast off of Blima's list. And we have a second time guest. She's come back. Somebody's going to get fired on her team because she's going to be,
She's like, how did you let this happen again?
Why did you let this happen? I told you that I never wanted to go.
We've had guests on multiple times.
That's Blima Ehrentreu is the founder and CEO of Designers Group, a boutique interior design firm ranked number 15 on Inc. magazine's fastest growing company. She's led projects where design decisions carry operational consequences. Blima, welcome back. It's good to have you. You're in Miami. You're looking all chill and warm.
Yeah.
Relaxed.
Thanks for having me again. But I have to say that Anthony was not here last time. So for me,
Anthony was. It was Stephanie and I, which was a way better episode. Anyway, all right. So let's just get into the topic. So team alignment versus this idea of consensus. How do we get our teams aligned to start to make good decisions? I guess probably to start off with, just define for me, Blima, in your mind, like what does it mean to have team alignment versus consensus versus this other idea that we're just that I'm making the decisions and everybody's going to follow me?
We're a purpose-driven design firm. Our motto is really what leads us. It's designing with purpose, creating a better world. So as long as the team is aligned on who and what we are, that really drives so many of our decisions. And I like to think that we're a super collaborative team. Everyone's voice is important. Everyone's opinion matters. So it doesn't matter if you're relatively new to the firm or you've been with us for a long time. We want to hear from you, and what you have to say really matters.
2 questions. First, are you hiring? I'm just looking. Asking for a friend.
We're always looking for talent.
And number 2,
is it talent, Chris? Talent? He's looking for talent. Yeah, it's not you. It's not you.
That's always that loophole. Anthony, we were talking about this before we started, and you wrote a white paper. This is that classic. I think it's a classic challenge for startup founders, which is early on, I want to have everybody in the boat. I want them rowing the same direction. And one way to do that is really to have everybody weigh in on decisions. Everybody gets an opportunity to kind of be around the table and help make a decision. That I think works when there's just a few of us around the table, but I think it does break.
It doesn't work when there's a few of us around the table either.
Oh, okay, please disagree, Anthony.
Yeah, so there has to be a decider. I hate to say that, but there has to be somebody that says this is the direction we're rowing. There has to be somebody that points the team in the direction. The job of the leader is to collaborate, not build consensus. I think alignment is an interesting word. So alignment for me means the team, even though they may not agree entirely, they can get behind it. And that's how good teams operate together. But I think, but Blima, I would really be interested. So you have an interesting dynamic, and you have multiple locations, which makes it a little bit more difficult to get teams to collaborate and get essentially consistent deliverables across coasts. So I'm curious how you do that.
Our process is very detail driven. So it really doesn't matter which location. Our process is always the same. But I do say that every office does function a little differently, depending on how many team members are there, depending on the project types that we're more focused on, depending on who the studio lead is. Each location has its own studio lead and its own team of designers. Now, there are specific designers that are more focused on specific industries, and there's that collaboration between offices. So we really all work together and just look at everyone's skill and talent and how they can shine, and how us as a firm can really utilize those strengths of each person on our team.
Yeah, so I'm more client delivery is important. Totally agree with you. But there's a company-wide direction that you need to create, right? There's something that is going to affect everybody for the next 2 years. How do you get everybody to lean in on that? And at what point do you say enough and you make the decision? Or how do you get that to work together when there's a bigger decision that affects everybody?
So it really depends. I wouldn't say that there's one answer that works every single time. Different opportunities come up between the different offices, different challenges. There are definitely different locational issues as well. But we're all about working together, and we really do have that sense of pride about what we're doing, passion for what we're accomplishing within environments, and really making spaces better for people. And that's something that we look for when we hire. The way we hire is that we do have a short trial period. Sometimes it's just a day or two, but we get to see if this person is a good fit for us as a firm, and they get to decide if our firm is a company that they want to align themselves with. And we're all about working together. So I want the different team members to weigh in on if this new hire works. And I also want the new hire to have the opportunity to see if they align with who and what we are. So that's super important for us. And then we're really focused on working together and helping each other out. We have a TDG Star of the Week. We are at our team meetings, everyone gets to nominate someone that they believe helped out or did something good, and they get sent to me. I read them out loud, and it's really amazing to hear how everyone is contributing to the success of our firm by also working on their character. It's not just about moving a project forward, it's about how they treat each other. So since this is a real value and something that's so important to us and very integral to the way we work, I believe that everyone's dialed into it and really wants what's best for the firm.
I think it's
Chris, sorry, Chris, you just went through this, right? So yeah. Blima talked a lot about culture and values alignment, which is incredibly important. And Chris, I want to ask you, because I want to get into the tactics of this. Like, how do you do it? and you just went through quarterly planning at your company, where you
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
the team together and you had to make some difficult, maybe not difficult, but decisions that necessarily didn't have consensus. How did you do that?
Yeah, I just talk louder and longer than anybody else. I just mansplain everything. Let me explain these secrets. Why this? No, it's a really interesting point. It's funny because I wrote down Blima. I wrote down culture and then an arrow to values, and values with an arrow to vision and mission. And I think that in a small team, we're still a small team, like 5 of us, something like that. But with 5 of us, I think culture wins. And what I mean by that is that we can sit and disagree and openly disagree and battle, but everybody understands the decision has to be made, and that ultimately I get paid to make that decision. And so I think that starting with a culture of inclusiveness and making sure that everybody at least has an opportunity to be heard. And I think that there is some research there that shows that as well, which is it's not always, you don't have to agree, but you have to be heard. And when people become very dissatisfied in their job is when they don't feel like they have the opportunity to weigh in on these decisions. And so I think culture is that first component, and then it goes to values and vision and mission. So I want to start there, which is with this idea of culture. How do you do that, Blima? What is the way that you create a culture? And I think to Anthony's point, if you have multiple locations, a culture is going to vary by location. How do you try to create a consistent culture across those locations? Excuse me.
So it's interesting that you brought up an inclusive environment, because we have so many different team members from different cultures, different backgrounds, different religions, different countries. And people always ask me, how do you have such a diverse team? And what I respond is that we're looking for talent. We're looking for designers who want to make the world a better place. So when we're looking for that, that's what we're concentrating on. And because of that, as a result, our team just has so many different experiences that they can use to formulate our design solutions and come up with unique ideas. And I believe that that's really what makes a strong team, when everyone has the same vision and mission that's driving them. But to take that a step further and really cultivate that between different work environments and different countries, because we are in Canada as well as the US. We're on the East Coast.
Canada's the same. It's the same country.
No, I mean, this is the big joke. Stephanie is our co-host, and she lives in Canada. And so we do a lot of Canada joking, but also she just rolls her eyes at us.
So you're welcome to do the same.
Yeah,
I guess it depends who you ask. But we're also on the East Coast and the West Coast.
Those are different countries.
But I do see how everyone collaborates together. And I know that it has to come from the top, but I also see how my team leans in when their managers, when their studio leads are focused on the important parts of moving a project forward. And like I said, the values and the mission that really drives us. Chris said
that I'm gonna go back to what Chris said. Chris said that everyone needs to be heard. But is that true? Can't asking somebody's opinion on something lead to the unexpected expectation setting that you'll actually listen to them?
Well, I definitely try to listen, and
you'll do what they're asking. That you'll not just listen to them, but actually do what they're telling you should do.
Yes.
I don't agree. Like, I think that the point there is that you have to be respectful. And just like when Anthony, I told you for How to Founder, is that we should turn this into an interactive reality show. And you looked at me and said, I hear you. And the answer is no, Chris. But I hear you. I want to poke on the same point, Anthony. I want to ask you the same question, which is, and I'll use you and I as an example. We've been friends for a long time. We come from a similar background, but you and I disagree all the time. And we disagree about small stuff and little stuff, but it doesn't affect our overall relationship. I think that that's something that you, I mean, sometimes it affects it. You have, as a leader, and I've seen you in a leader, you create cultures where people can openly disagree and debate, but they do it in a way that feels constructive, not destructive. Is that something you can just do? Is that a talent, or is that something you're intentional about?
I don't think I'm intentional about it. I think it comes down to I have an allergy to having conversations that don't move the company forward. And so it naturally occurs where it's like I'm just looking for the right answer. I'm not looking to be right. And I think if that's truly in your heart, as a leader, that one, you don't tolerate people that don't have the same mindset. I just want to make things better. And you also steer the conversation to the things that truly matter. So I don't know if that's, for me, it's not intentional. For some, you need to become self-aware if you're not that way. Like if you care more about being right, then the problem is you. Not
I'm just writing that down. Problem is me.
Problem is you. Yes. I wasn't talking to you specifically, Chris, but you might be in that group.
Blima, yeah. I want to redirect that question to you. So how many employees do you have?
Close to 40.
So 40 employees, multiple locations, multiple offices. You are flying all over the world. You are the big boss. When you come in, obviously you have gravitas to you. Like there's a moment where it's like, oh my gosh, Blima's coming to our office. How do you create that sense of safety where if you, hey, this is my idea, but feel free to disagree with that? Or do you just come in and talk louder and longer like I do?
I genuinely love to hear what everyone has to say. I believe that everyone's opinion and their view of things can definitely be broader or see things that I don't see. And that's definitely the culture that we have. We want everyone to weigh in on ideas, on concepts, on different ways that we're driving the firm forward. And like I said at the beginning, it doesn't matter if you're relatively new to the firm, if you're relatively new to a design career, we want to hear from you. And I see this in our projects as well. Like when we're exploring a new project type or some way to accomplish something, we like to speak to everyone, whether it's the cleaners of the building, because they have insights that we might not even think about. And I believe it's the same with the team. It doesn't matter what your position is, where you rank in the firm, what you have to say is valuable. And I say that coming from different backgrounds, but also coming in on the project at a different stage or a different phase. So I definitely am a big believer in listening to everyone's opinion. Again, when it comes to decision making, we do have a hierarchy. There are lead designers, there are studio leads, there are project managers, there are senior designers. So of course, we have to look at the data, hear everyone's voice, but ultimately come up with the best decision for the firm.
Hey, Chris, it just occurred to me, Blima has a totally unfair advantage in this.
Because she's smart.
Yeah, but more, which leads to design thinking by its very nature requires an exceptional skill set of collaboration. It's required. It's inherent in that curiosity gene is required in any design thinker. When you have a technical co-founder or a technical founder, when you're a founder that's technical, I think this is not a natural skill set to develop. I think it's a lot harder because
Oh,
Because if
interesting.
you're
Yeah.
coding does what you tell it to do, and you kind of expect people to operate. You expect your people to operate the same way. I told them to do it this way, and they're not doing it this way, and you get frustrated. Have you experienced that, Chris? Have you seen? I've seen that with technical co-founders, but
It's really interesting because what I wrote down, and I think it's true, which is experience doesn't have a monopoly on good ideas. It just means you're experienced, right? And
yep,
particularly, but I think this is where, and this is what Blima was saying, is in creative fields, particularly. Creative fields, you want people with different diversity and background, and younger people and older people, and more experienced and less experienced. And there's actually fairly good research now. Most of this came out of a project called Project Aristotle that Google did when they looked at high performing teams. And they found that diversity of thought within teams, which comes from diversity of background, race, creed, color, age, etc., leads to better outcomes only when the team leader can cultivate an environment of safety, of psychological safety, whereby people feel like that they have the ability to weigh in, disagree, argue, and come to a decision together and feel respected. It's hard to find the actual study stuff now, but if you Google Project Aristotle, they made all that information publicly available. I want to change gears for just one more second and go to one more topic before we go to the speed round, which is we've talked about culture and that idea of inclusiveness and how do you create psychological safety, which is, again, critically important. But the next step up on the rung is values. And so you said vision, mission, Blima, but I think values is a step below vision, mission, because values is that thing when you have 40 employees, not 500 employees. Values, I think, do translate across organizations, I think, and across offices, et cetera. And so I want to start with you, Blima, and talk about core values. Is that something you guys talk about? Are they written? Are they understood? Are there norms across your different offices? How do you deal with this idea called values? Because famously, Peter Drucker, management consultant, actually he didn't say this, but it's always attributed to him, that culture eats
strategy,
structure for lunch, or culture
eats strategy for lunch.
Yeah. He actually never said that, but it was pretty good. It's pretty good saying. So, Blima, what do you think about that?
I definitely agree. I believe that values really are what is driving your mission. And I know for us that our values do. And they're kind of interconnected and interrelated because we believe that we bring value to the projects that we work on. But how are we bringing that value with the values that we've incorporated into our process and into our deliverables?
Anthony, same question to you. So you've got these ideas, and again, I think to me where my mind is going is that if you have 200 people, the mission and vision become the most critical component. People have to align behind that. But when you're looking for alignment in a team, call it 40, 50 people, something like that, your values are the things that I think speak louder. Is that, first of all, does that premise hold up for you? And secondly, how do you, as a leader, think about spreading those values across an organization?
Yeah, so we've talked about values quite a bit on the show. I'll try to remember the bullet points. One, if integrity is one of your values, you got it wrong.
I was going to say, you don't remember what you had for breakfast, Anthony. There's no chance.
Just because, of course, integrity, like everybody has that as a value. Like it's like saying people, we want to hire people that breathe. The second thing on values is usually values are created from a workshop that the leadership team comes together in a room and they write them all down. They feel really good. They pat themselves on the back and go have an expensive lunch and they're never touched again. The way to really implement values is, one, you have to decide what are your customers going to value and how do you want to serve those customers? And then define the traits that the people you want to hire need to have in order to deliver to your customers. Those are your values. And then you need to incorporate those values in how you interview and hire people. You need to create a scale. How curious is this person? If curiosity is a value, how how smart are they? If intellect is a value, so you need to really weave those values into how you hire and then how you measure your employees. Otherwise, they sit in a drawer that you can look back. And how many times have you talked to a founder, Chris, where you're like, what are your values? And they're like, oh yeah, we did that a while ago. I don't know why, they're complaining about, I don't know why I keep hiring the wrong people. And you're like, well, what are your values? And like, oh, I gotta look in the drawer and figure out what our values are. Right?
They dust off the thing on the wall.
The wall, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the PowerPoint slide up.
I had somebody tell me once, if your values are on your wall, if the values are on the wall for the company you're working for, you're working at the wrong place.
Blima, I never take people to expensive lunches. I just do Chipotle. Did I do it wrong?
Chipotle is expensive.
Chipotle is expensive. So I want to redirect to you, Blima, because this is that interesting component of running a multi-location company. Does your values as a founder and you as a leader, do they permeate every location, or does every location sort of act differently? It's kind of back to the opening. Is it separate? Do they kind of create their own values, and is that okay?
We have the same values through all our locations, but we are dealing with people, and everyone is a little different, and every person has a different personality and certain parts of their character that shine brighter. So our values are definitely the same, but I do see how different locations have their own character. Definitely.
All right.
That was the most politically correct way of saying some people are more of a pain in the ass than others. That was really well stated.
I don't know why you were looking at me when you said pain in the ass. I don't know why.
I don't look at it that way. I look at it, everyone shines differently. And we have an incredible team. Really.
I'm going to ask this because clearly you guys, as superior leaders that you've developed into today, that you had some story in your past where either you as a team member or a leader, alignment wasn't there and decision-making got diffused, or there wasn't a clear process as far as that decision-making goes. Tell me about a time when you got it wrong and what were the consequences. I'll start with you, Anthony, because you can tell a really embarrassing story and then Blima can feel safe that we.
All right.
We're being open, honest, and vulnerable.
The one that popped into my head was early days at Effective. We would run all staffs like once a week, where everybody would come in 15, 20 minutes. We tell them about the week, what's going on with the company, kind of do a quick status report. And our leadership team philosophy was radical. We were radically transparent. Before
it was a book, you guys were radically.
Yeah, we were just very transparent. And then we got to 40, and then we got to 50 people. And somebody came up to me and he said, I don't want to know that we might miss payroll in 2 months. You're being too transparent. I want to go home.
A little less transparent now.
And sleep. I want to be able to sleep. Like that's what you're paid for to worry about. I don't want to worry about that. And so, that was a reset that I had to do on what my job is to bear the weight of the anxiety and stress of the company, and make other people that are working there, give them the things to believe in, not the things to worry about necessarily. Anyway.
Blima, what about you? Any examples of when team alignment and decision-making broke down?
Well, I like what Anthony said, that sometimes transparency, even though everyone wants to understand the inner workings of the company, sometimes it's best to focus on the positive so that you're empowering the team and letting them feel good and positive about what's ahead. For us, it's definitely still a work in progress. Los Angeles was our latest new location. We acquired an existing design firm about 3 or 4 months ago.
And we don't have any listeners in California, so we can just talk. California. Don't worry, there's only like 1 billion people in California. So don't worry about this, dude.
And that was definitely interesting for us because the other locations were places that I lived in. So I'm from Toronto. That was our first office. I moved to New York, opened the office there, and now I'm back and forth between our New York and Miami locations. And what we did differently with Los Angeles was acquiring an existing firm so that it wouldn't need me to be there in order to operate. But because of that, it's a whole different process. And really just learning that and understanding that. And we do have a pretty good onboarding that we use for new team members, but coming into an existing structure and aligning how they're approaching projects, how we approach them, our vision, our mission, what they've been doing, how we can bring that all together has definitely been a learning curve in a good way, because it's able to set us up for our next acquisition. But that has definitely been a work in progress and still is. And it's always interesting to learn from the way other people do things, but also see that our processes are just so amazing and how we've really mastered the different design phases and understanding how to approach a vision to execution.
What's really interesting, Blima, and this is, you just brought up this kind of interesting point about physical location. And so well, for the most part in the US, like we're going to look at things in Canada, North America, we'll say, we look at things in very similar ways, but there are differences, particularly in highly creative environments, Anthony, where highly creative environments, decision-making will vary based on location. And secondarily, this gets wildly more complicated in global teams. So, I was the CEO of a company for a hot second that had, I think, 5 different countries where we had team members. And it was a really eye-opening experience to say, how do I create any sense of alignment where some places people are not expecting to weigh in on every decision. They're expected to be given very clear direction and go execute that to the best of their ability. And then other places where people very much want to be around the table when they make decisions. But believe me, you're younger than us, but also can we all just bitch a little about 20 somethings that just think that they are entitled to come into every decision? Like they'll walk into board meetings. Am I right? Stupid young people.
I remember being in my 20s and definitely believing that I should be weighing in on those decisions. So I hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super smart. I don't understand why I'm not currently on the board of directors right now, even though I'm a frontline salesperson getting paid minimum wage. Yeah, that was pretty much it. All right, want to get to the speed round, but just last point on this stuff. And then we kind of started on the surface of decision making and about consensus versus more like authoritarian decision making. Really quickly, we got below the surface on what team makeup is and how teams look, and really that concept of psychological safety. I mean, last kind of just pointed question, and I'll start with you, Anthony, and then to Blima, then we'll go to the speed round, is it better as a leader for me to be more decisive and make firm, hard decisions and be confident behind those decisions? Or is it better for me to be more inclusive? And I know it's an impossible question because of time and location and context. But just
I think you're creating a false binary. So yes, both are true. So yes, you need to make the decision. This is the direction we're going. After you get input from everybody that needs to have input. And after you explain why you're making that decision and where you may be wrong, but we're going to go this direction anyway. So you just need to be candid about, here's the direction we're going. Here's the people I've looked for. Here's why I've made this decision. Thank you for all of your input. Here we go. So yes. And I did want to point out one thing that Blima said that was really that I kind of missed talking about, that I think is really important. I think a lot of founders undervalue onboarding. new employee onboarding. I think that's incredibly valuable to ensure that the new team members that come on understand from you as the founder why you exist, what your values are, what the expectations are, and how you care about your clients in a unique way. I think that's incredibly important.
I don't know why Anthony had called me bidirectional. I don't know why I'm in two directions. False bidirectional.
False binary is what I call it.
Binary.
Yeah.
Blima, how about you? What do you think?
I definitely think there needs to be a healthy balance between the two. And when you were asking the question, you said something like, do you need to be firm and only go in one direction? And I believe that as leaders, what we need to do is evaluate each situation. Now, sometimes as a leader, we need to be firm. And other times it's so important to actually be more flexible and listen to what people are saying. So the way I operate is both. Sometimes I'm very firm. I know that this is what we have to do, and this is what's best for us and for the direction we want to go in. And there are many other occasions where I'm not as sure, and I want everyone to weigh in, and I want to hear their opinion, and then together we can make the decision.
So another false bibliography.
Basically.
Got it. All right. Blima, are you ready for the speed round? All right, I'm going to ask a question. First thing that pops into your head, or say, Anthony, this is a dumb question. Even though I'm reading the question, you can just blame the question if it's dumb on Anthony. All right, what percentage of decisions need full team buy-in before moving forward? Actually, it's a great question.
50%.
Team members publicly disagree with your direction. Shut it down or let it play out?
Let it play.
Unanimous yes from a comfortable team, or split votes from a sharp one?
Split
I don't
vote.
even know what that question is. Really, I'll rephrase. Is it better if you have a team that's been together for a really long time? Is it better to get consensus, or is a team that's just forming? Is it better to just get you have to go and make a decision?
I'm going to change my answer and go with consensus.
I like it. Which kills more startups? Too much conflict or too much harmony?
That's a great question.
Too much conflict.
Authority without consensus. Is it good? Ship it? I don't know what that means. Authority without consensus. Is that something that you can have and still be a good leader? Or is it something that is you have to figure out a way to get some sort of consensus?
I believe there needs to be consensus. Otherwise, it's a dictatorship, which I don't love.
I mean, I don't mind dictatorship so long as I'm the dictator.
Right.
It's great for me being the dictator, but just, the people around it.
He doesn't want to be president. He wants to be king.
Deep dive resources, the 5 dysfunctions of team. It is a must read for any manager of any level. Radical Candor by Kim Scott. You were radically candid. I think she stole the idea from you, Anthony, even though that, it's a best-selling book. But we are not going to go, we're going to read those books, and then we're going to go connect with you, Blima. Where can we connect? Where can we find out? Where can we hear more about your wisdom? And more of you getting to roll your eyes at our dad jokes, probably.
You can always check out our website, thedesignersgroup.com, and we are on all social media channels, also the Designers Group.
Awesome. Blima, thank you. Thank you for coming back. Even though it was an accident, I don't think you knew you were coming back and having to deal with our shenanigans twice, but we appreciate it. I thought it was a really good conversation. I thought we got to a lot of really good stuff. Anthony, get us out of here.
Yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Please be sure to visit us at howtofounder.com, where you can connect with us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify channels. You are the pioneer of economic prosperity, and Chris, myself, and Stephanie are just so grateful that we're allowed to be here along the way with you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Blima. Bye.